Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben, and in this episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast, we're talking to Blair Tomkinson, ABA Award-nominated barbecue competitor, pit builder, and pit master at Bear's BBQ Low and Slow Catering.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Blair, how are you, mate? Welcome to the confessional.
Good, mate. How are you?
Mate, I am cracking. It's a good day to be talking about barbecue.
It definitely is.
Now, speaking of barbecue, beautiful sign in the background there, man. I'm digging that. I want one.
Cheers. Yeah, no, they're quite good, and it's great to hang up at the events when I'm catering, so brings the crowds in.
I'll bet it does, yeah. Can you tell me where you picked it up, or is it a bit of a trade secret?
No, it was I just found them on Instagram. I actually can't remember their company name and just ordered it, and a couple of weeks later it rocked up. So it rocked up bigger than I thought it was going to be as well. So yeah, I was quite surprised.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's always better than when you open something up and it's disappointing.
Yeah, no, I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah. So look, first things first, congratulations on your nomination for the Australian BBQ Alliance Annual Awards for Catering. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it does. I was actually quite honoured and surprised. I can't believe it that people wanted to put my name down there for that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, man, it's a huge recognition, and I'm sure that it's going to go a long way to helping you build your profile with Bear's BBQ there. But we're going to talk about Bear's BBQ a little bit further down the line. Tell me, mate, what was the last thing that you barbecued for yourself to eat at home?
Would have been just a Scotch fillet. You tend to have I cook a lot of them at home for dinner. Just an enjoyable piece of meat. So just a good night dinner's meal all the time. So a quick smoke and a quick sear. So.
Is that SCA competition practice? Do you compete in
no.
SCA?
No, I've done it once in our Country Boys team. It's more Dan and Dave on the steak. But no, mine's just a quick, get a bit of smoke into it and a quick sear and get it on that dinner plate.
Oh, okay. Sounds awesome. Now, I've just got a quick comments come here. Daniel Barrington is joining us live on Facebook here. His comment is, "Hello, Dad." I'm assuming that's
right.
An inside joke.
Yeah, I got a dad bod.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, we're barbecue guys. We all do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty, so give us a bit of the rundown of how you got into barbecue.
Yeah, right. Well, how I first started, I grew up with Chris Bollins from Barbecue Mafia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he started hadn't seen him for a little bit, and he started posting all these photos of all this meat and slow cooking on the barbecues, and I kept sending him messages and annoying him. And then he said he need to come to one of these barbecue comps and come join him and Drew and Gaz and Ryan. So started popping my head in, hanging out with him at the barbecue comps. And yeah, I was blown away by how good it was. So that was my introduction pretty much into the American barbecue.
Yeah, right. Okay. And had you been into the Australian style of barbecue before that, or was it just always all about the American stuff for you?
No, before that, I always liked cooking on the barbecue, like putting the old snag on there and a bit of onion, and just like always doing that. And then I seen what more you could do, and I also liked enjoying like doing things slow. Got good patience with it, so yeah, I just wanted to really get into it, and went out and bought one of those Bunnings little char grillers, little offset smoker. So,
how did you find that?
At start, it was challenging, and then started working out all the temperatures and where it was hot inside. So, modified it a fair bit to make it work, and then slowly just started upgrading from there.
Alrighty, what sort of modifications were involved in that?
Just probably more heat deflectors inside. Upgrading the temp gauge because the temp gauge was terrible. Then just moving, we're finding where the good sweet spot is, where to put the meat inside. So and just trying to get the actual fire management. And then if you had too much, it was too hot. So it ended up being like a pretty little fire and more charcoal.
Yeah, right. Cool. Now, you mentioned that you got introduced to competition barbecue by Barbecue Mafia, which is a hell of a pedigree.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually remember this, but we first met at the Bangalore Bluegrass and Barbecue Festival in 2016, and you had a
Yes,
beautiful
that's
little
correct.
smoker there, but I can't remember if you were competing or if you were vending.
Yeah, we were competing. So it was me and Brett from Lane's Barbecue and our Crafted Q barbecue team. And that was like, I remember it being super cold. We brought down a smoker, a little reverse flow that I built, and we just got two brand new gateway drums. So it was like the first time cooking on all three of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were sort of trying to figure it all out, but we actually did pretty well in that Bangalore comp. I think we got first place in brisket and fourth place in pork ribs at that competition. So
Yeah, that's right. I do have a good photo of you and Brett up there picking up your trophies. Now that you've said that, I do actually remember that now.
yeah.
I think I used that photo on as a cover photo of the photo album that I published of my shots there.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, no, it was quite a surprise because we were at the Flame Mongrels tent all celebrating, and we didn't even hear our name get called. And everyone's like, "You guys just won," and we thought everyone was sort of like
Stitching you
taking
up.
the piss. Yeah, stitching us up, and then we realized it was us, so we're pretty excited.
Yeah. The mongrels tent can be a bit distracting at times. It has a
It's a
bit of
very
that
good
reputation.
tent.
Yeah. Now that little pit that you had built, that was a beautiful thing. Do you still have that?
No, so I built that for a friend of mine, and that was like just doing like the first cook. So, but he still has it, and it still looks really good. So it was a little 16-inch reverse flow.
Yeah. And are you still making pits now that you got Bear's Barbecue up and running?
Yeah, I've been building my own. So I built my two reverse flows that are on my trailer that I do all my catering with. I built another one before that someone else has down in Brisbane on a trailer, and then I've just built that new standard flow one, the blue one that's at Lane's Barbecue. So for they can start doing cooking down there and more videos.
I love that blue one. It's very rat rod.
Yeah, it's a favourite.
Yeah.
So put a lot of time into that and just tried making everything perfect. So
Yeah, no doubt about that at all. So how long did you compete as Crafted Q?
Brett was doing that before I joined. I think he was doing that for a good year and a bit before I joined. And then we did it for another year. And then his Lane's Barbecue just took off and went to another level. So we had to focus on that. And then it was sort of only me left there. And so Dan from Country Boys come over and we had a good chat and we get along really well. So then I formally joined the Country Boys.
Yeah, tell us about that, because I mean that's one of the premier teams in the country. To get an invite to go join Country Boys, that's got to be pretty cool.
No, I was pretty honoured with it. Like from I think 2016, nearly every year we've been invited to the Invitational, and I think we've finished top 10 nearly every year. So we've been doing pretty well, and I think just this year we finished in third place with all Queensland pretty much up the top. So it was good to see Queensland finally getting up there and taking charge.
It was really good. Yeah. Now the Country Boys have a bit of a reputation for being really at the pointy end, as you said. And I'm always curious when it comes to talking to top level teams about how they organise the team. So back when I was competing, Dan was my neighbour a couple of times, and he was either solo or he just had one person. So now that there's the big team there, how do you divvy it up? Like, do you have a particular protein? Like, what's your role in the Country Boys?
Yeah, well, I'll mainly focus on the brisket but just do an oversight over everything with everyone. Dan's always on his pork because his pork always a top five, no matter where we go. His pork is amazing. Little Bicky, he's always looking after our lamb, and Will's in there as well, looking after the lamb and chicken. So
Oh,
Yeah,
rightio.
we've all got a little. We've all got our little proteins, but we always looking after each other and helping each other out when someone's not there to watch something. So
Yeah, I've noticed that the country boys tend to do a lot of cross training as well. So it sort
yeah,
of it doesn't matter if the whole team can't make it because the rest can still go ahead. And when I was competing at Bangalore in 2017, I was actually between Dan and no, I was next to Dan, and on the other side of him was Lucas, and they were both
yep,
competing solo, and they were actually watching each other's fires and things throughout the whole competition. So it's kind of fascinating to see how all that kind of that time spent together and that cross training really comes together to create such a smooth flowing unit there.
yeah. It's always a pleasure when we got Lucas beside us because like we're always helping each other out and always looking after each other's fires and stuff like that. So no, it's been pretty good having Lucas as another team and having him beside us. So he's even been a teammate a few times. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, the sharing of knowledge between the two of you there is, between the two teams must just be amazing. I can only
Yeah,
imagine.
no, definitely. No, it is a good bunch of dudes. Always good to
Yeah,
have a barbecue and good beer with.
yeah, yeah. So, what's your preferred cooker there in the team? Because I know Dan has a trailer that he built himself. Do you cook the brisket in the trailer, or are you a drum guy? What do you like to do the brisket in?
I like them all. So we got the GMG pellet grills, we got the Gateway drums, and we got his homemade smoker. That little homemade smoker of his on his trailer, that thing just seems to just cook. It cooks amazing. And like we'll put one brisket in there normally, and we might have one in the drum, or we'll put one in the pellet smoker, just depending on how many cuts and we're cooking for the day. So they all turn out. Also, they all seem to turn out pretty much the same. Just the smoker takes that little bit longer than the drum.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That's kind of interesting that you've got such a wide spread of different smoker types there. You've got a traditional homemade offset, the drums, and the pellets. Do you find that particular proteins respond to the particular cooking styles of those cookers?
They do, definitely do. Um, like with the pellet smoker, they're doing like just some of the lamb and pork ribs in them. They seem to just do that perfect cook on the pork. Even with retaining the color, you're not getting too much burn, so you want that nice presentation. Yeah, so they all have their own purpose, which is really good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. What do you like to do the chicken in?
Chicken will get, we'll probably put them in the pellet smoker and then finish them in the drum sometimes. Like sometimes when you're doing chicken, that old timer's coming up and you need to get that temp up pretty quick. So sometimes they're getting thrown in the drum because they go a drum you can get that temp up pretty quick. So
Yeah, the insane can posse. I watched some of their stuff, and some of the temps that they run at is just mind blowing in terms of competition barbecue. But the product at the
yeah,
end of it is just always beautiful looking, sensational.
yeah, the drum seems to turn out really good barbecue. It's just one thing you got to make sure there's no one walking around and hitting those air vents, those intakes, because sometimes people knock those intakes and you come back and it's sitting at 500 Fahrenheit. So
Oh, like you walk past and you kick the intake with your foot or something.
yeah, the intakes are up like around the hip height.
Oh, okay.
So people walk past and brush them by accident. They don't do it on purpose, but it seems to happen a fair bit in the old competition when, especially when me and Dan first got those first drums. We would have it sitting at 300 Fahrenheit, and then you'd look back and it's sitting at 500. So,
A 45-minute brisket. Now that would be interesting.
be good.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, what's been your best competition experience with Country Boys?
um, Probably Townsville. All of them have been really good experiences, especially doing the invitationals every year. But I can't fault Townsville. The Townsville barbecue comp was amazing, and it wasn't just because we did so well on our cook. It was just the whole atmosphere there and all the teams. Everyone bonded. Everyone got along. There's a lot of new teams. We gave advice. It was just all generally a really good comp, and everyone was super happy and chilled. So it was very relaxing. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about that Townsville barbecue battle is that they seem to, from what I've seen at competitions, they seem to handle new teams the best. and encouraging new teams to come and join the scene and all that sort of stuff. I think they've really nailed that down nicely.
Yeah, no, they have. They've done it very well, and they interact with everyone. The communication's amazing in that competition. So,
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, one thing that I love about you and Dan and what you guys do is you love to, as you just said, you were sharing knowledge and helping teams, and the competition at Bangalore that I was just talking about before. Dan and Lucas both shared a lot of knowledge with me there, and sort of helped me up my game. I understand that you actually did a bit of a TV spot, raising money for farmers. Tell us a bit about that experience.
yes. So we're down at the Invitational. I can't remember what year it was. It might have been 18. And Black Bear had organised a spot on Channel 9, I think it was, where the Channel 9 footy studio is. So we went down there with Tex Oz, Black Bear, and us. It was like Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland. Little competition demo, little thing we did there, and everyone was cooking. It was pretty good. So it was a good day, and it was more about the awareness of raising money for the farmers to come down to the event and have a good feed and see what's going on.
Yeah, that was such a good initiative there, and the farmers are in so much need. It was really great to see you guys doing that.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was glad to be part of it. So just to be asked to be part of it was a big thing. So
yeah, for sure. Now, just to loop back to what you were saying before, you mentioned that you were doing some work at Lanes with Brett. Are you still working at Lanes as well as all the other things that you do?
Yeah, no. So I just pop in every now and then, and I'll come in and we'll organise with Brett, and we'll G up a week, and I'll come in and do a couple of videos over a couple of days just to help them out with social media stuff. I met Brett back in 2016, and me and him been best mates since then, pretty much. And I've always been there to support him with trying to help him out as much as I can where I can. So I just love the Lanes products and the vision that he's got. It's the perfect barbecue vision. So, and he's always there. He's a gentleman of barbecue, helping everyone out. So it's all I can do is try and repay and try and help out where I can. So,
yeah. I saw a video that you did for him just a few weeks ago, or maybe even days ago. I just saw it yesterday. But so you're actually getting in front of the camera a bit more now, and you're starting to put together some videos.
Yeah, trying to go down there, and he's got a really good social media guy working with him called Lloyd. So I've been jumping in, and Lloyd's been behind the camera. You'll see Lloyd a lot on the Lanes Barbecue as well, doing the other videos. So yeah, Lloyd's trying to get me more confident, and so is Brett behind the camera. So it's been a good learning experience.
I'm sure it has, man. Well, you certainly seem a lot more relaxed here with me today, which is great. It's obviously paying off. You're putting in the work, and it's showing. So that's some great stuff. So tell me, what do you
thank you.
What's coming up next for you and Country Boys in terms of the competitions? Where are we going to see you next?
So the next competition Country Boys is at, you'll see Country Boys at the Toowoomba Meat Stock. Which is going to be, I think I can't remember how many teams are competing, but there is a lot of teams. It's going to be a big event, and just over those 2 days, I think Toowoomba is going to be pretty happy with smelling all that smoke and eating all that meat. So that's going to be the next comp you see us at.
I think it's actually going to be 4 days, isn't it? There's a double SCA on Thursday, a double SCA on Friday, and then the ABA comp. So
there you go.
I think it's a 4-day festival altogether, which is massive, huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge, and then having all the big country music it's going to be a really good weekend. So, meat stock.
Yeah, you can't beat meat stock, can you?
No, the meat stock just keeps getting better and better every year. So
it does. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hey folks, winter is coming, and so we have got what you need to stay warm. We've got our beautiful Smoking Hot Confessions hoodies with our Hail Mary on the back there. You can see her there. She actually picked up Best Barbecue Apparel at the MBBQA Awards in 2021. We've got our beanies. We've got our T-shirts available as well for those of us that live in Queensland, and when it's hot, we have to put on a T-shirt. So we've also got our beautiful tumblers available there as well that will keep a cup of coffee hot overnight. They're pretty phenomenal gear. So if you're a little bit worried about what's coming for winter, make sure you head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com/shop, grab yourself some of the best looking merch around, and look cool while you're staying warm.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@smokinghotconfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
Alrighty, Blair. Now we've talked about Crafted Q, we've talked about Lanes, we've talked about Country Boys, but you've got your own thing now as well. This is Bear's Barbecue Low and Slow, and you've been you've been nominated for the Australian BBQ Alliance Award for catering. So let's get into that. Tell us how Bear's Barbecue came about.
I just started just cooking at home back in the day, probably 2016, and people coming around and trying the food and just being amazed, and just like the feedback I was getting from friends that just made me want to try and put that food out to more people. So I started doing a couple of weddings back in 2016 on the Gold Coast when I was living down in Brisbane. And then I had James Taylor from Butterbeard, because he lived only around the corner, and he had a nice Radar 24-inch smoker, and so I started borrowing that off him and started doing some weddings, and he was always helping me out as well, and just doing some catering stuff. So that's pretty much how I got into it first. And then I sort of slowed down a little bit, and then relocated to Mackay 3 years ago. And then once I got up here, I just come across these new tanks, and a few people found out that I was building smokers here and were asking if I wanted to get back into the catering game. So everything started taking off from there.
Oh, very cool. It's great that you're able to relocate and then sort of kick it all off again. That's fantastic. So give us a bit of an idea.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So it just kicked off from there, and just the people in Mackay just pushing me to get back into catering, which was really good.
Yeah, it's always nice when you're backed by popular demand. So
yeah.
When I was playing guitars in bars, it never actually happened, but I always wanted it to happen, backed by popular demand.
Yeah.
So tell us about that smoker then. You mentioned a reverse flow trailer that you built yourself. Tell us about that process.
Yeah, so I was just surfing the internet one day here up in Mackay, and I come across these two big old air vessels. And then I contacted the guy, and he was only selling one of them, but I could see in the background there was another one exactly the same. So I just said, can I buy both of them? I have plans for these, and he was happy to sell them. Got them into Mackay, and then started building. I built one. I didn't think I was going to build two because I didn't have that much spare time, and it took a while. But then I sort of got really motivated, and then found the time to build the second one, and then build a trailer and mounted them both on the trailer. So it took about 1.5 years to do in my spare time. But I'm pretty happy that I found that time to get them done, because I'm super happy with them, the way they turned out, and they cook amazing. So.
Yeah, they look the business. They've got that, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's kind of a patina finish with the moon wheels on it. Is that right? Is it what they're called? The solid silver?
Yeah, I got the, did the whole patina finish on the trailer and smokers, and I've just got the white wall tyres on it. I'm still yet to get some moon hubcaps for it. Just haven't had the time to look for them pretty much, but it's just a real rat patina smoker. So they got names Cheech and Chong. So
I love that. Mm. So how do you go about doing that patina finish? Like, it's obviously you sort of just let them sort of color naturally, and then what do you do? Do you sort of sand that back and then seal it, or how does that process work?
So I stripped them. They were originally white. I stripped them and just like little patches of paint everywhere on them, but they're mainly bare metal. And I was just oiling them. So over the time when the heat goes through it with the oil, they were getting that like nice, rich, bronzy, rusty look. But over time, they just keep getting darker and darker and darker. So now they're pretty just much a really deep brown at the moment. I just keep oiling them every time I cook. So I just get the old olive oil can out, and once they get a bit of heat into them, I respray them. So
Oh, okay, just a simple spray oil.
yeah, yeah,
The
that's just my way of doing it. There's plenty of other ways that people tend to do it, but yeah, that's just what I do to just maintain them. It is a bit annoying sometimes because you got to do really a lot of cleaning, especially if I go into a farm here in Mackay for a wedding and we go down a nice big dirt road, so they get a bit dusty. So, but yeah, I tend to do it after I've gone down that dirt road now.
Yeah, I'd imagine that the dust would stick to that oil pretty well. I'm actually interested in the fact that you said that you use aerosol, because I'd heard that the chemicals in aerosols can eat the Teflon finish on a saucepan. So I'm surprised that that they don't damage the surface of the smoker. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, well they're pretty solid. I think they're 8 mil thick.
Oh,
I think for them to
yeah.
pretty for them to damage that, they'd have to probably be damaged after I'm not here anyway. So they'll outlive me.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and did you insulate the fireboxes on them as well?
No, these ones I didn't. I kind of wish I did. But it was sort of like a new thing for me, a new design on these ones. So the way they worked, done a lot of modifying to sort of adjusting, learning with them, just managing where the fire goes in them, to the point where I've got them in a really good sweet spot now. I do wish I did insulation on it, but I didn't know too much about it. But the new one I built for Lane's Barbecue, that's a fully insulated firebox on that one. So,
oh, nice. How'd you go about doing that?
a lot of Panadol, and no, it was a lot of just more drawing and designing it to try and make it sure it was going to work and trying to make it the easiest way for making it happen. So, but it's just more a square box and a pipe inside, a round pipe, and then it's just got the heat insulation in between them. So it's pretty basic, but it's just more trying to make it happen.
Yeah, beautiful. I've got a jagged smoker oven out here, which is insulated around the firebox and the cook chamber. And it's phenomenal just how cheap that thing is to feed. Amazing.
Yeah, they look amazing quality. I've been watching them online, the old jagged wood-fired ones, and they look amazing.
Yeah, really good stuff. I love it. Now let's move on to your food. What sort of food do you serve? I mean, obviously it's barbecue, but is it Memphis style barbecue? Are you Texas style, or do you blend and fuse the different styles together? What do you do?
Yeah, so mainly I'm trying to focus on like the Texas style with the with my slow cooked meat. So with my briskets, I try and keep it as authentic as I can. And then also on the menu, I've got my brisket, beef ribs, pork ribs, pulled pork, and chicken Marylands. But I've been trying to keep it as Texan as I can. The sides aren't so much Texan because I found a lot of people in Australia keep asking for roast potato, roast pumpkin, stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Which, yeah, I tend to get a lot of them requesting that with the weddings because I'm mainly focusing on weddings. But I've removed them from the menu just because it's a bit of a nightmare to cook in the smokers. And I've just gone back to a lot of salads and just corn. So, but yeah, with the meats, I try and stick Texan as much as I can.
Yeah, I've tried throwing a couple of pumpkins in there myself, and I find that roasted over charcoal or roasted in a charcoal cooker is delicious, but smoked, not so much.
Yeah, it's also just the time. It takes a lot of time and it takes up a lot of room, and tends to take a lot of the heat out of the smokers as well. So
it does, yeah. Now you mentioned weddings there before, and I was going to ask you actually when it comes to catering and that sort of thing, what type of events you prefer? Because there tends to be people that sort of chase festivals, and then there's people that chase private functions. So I'm wondering, do you do both, or do you have a preference, or where do you land?
I'd like with the weddings is what I really enjoy doing at the moment. Because most of the weddings I get, they're an average of 100 people. So I'll do a big wedding of 100 or 100 plus. And it's just an enjoyable day because I can just go there, focus on that day, focus on getting those meals out. and that's your day done. I do want to get into festivals. I just probably need to focus on getting that a little bit bigger, and a bit more equipment, and then I'll start looking at getting into festivals in the future. So, but for me now, it's just weddings and private events.
Yeah, well, the way that I've heard it, obviously, I'm not a commercial cooker myself, but the way that I've heard it is that it's a lot safer for people to sort of get into private functions than it is festivals, because a wedding's going to go ahead, rain, hail, or shine, whereas a festival you could have spent $10,000 in food to sell over the weekend, and then you end up not being able to sell any of it. So, has there been sort of that consideration in your planning and your growth strategy?
Yeah, the weddings are a safer opportunity. You do get a couple cancelled, but you're only ordering the meat a couple of weeks ahead. So you're pre-organising everything only a couple of weeks ahead for that wedding, where a festival, there's a lot more involved. And I've seen a lot of people, as we both know, a lot of people that have gone to do events and the events are cancelled, and it's really hurt them, and it's something you can't afford to do all the time. So.
No, particularly in the last, we're in the third year of it now. There's been a lot of last-minute cancellations and a lot of meat tossed in the bin, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it is. Like I get cancellations with the weddings, but it's just part of it, and you got to prepare for it. So you can't get upset or angry about it. People have stuff going on in their life as well. So
yeah. Tell me, do you when you're negotiating these deals for these private functions, do you include, say, like a non-refundable deposit? So if the wedding does get cancelled, you still retain that deposit to at least sort of offset that sting a bit?
Yeah, there is time periods and stuff like with your cancelling that we have set up. So like deposits are a deposit, and then we go through, like if it's so many months out from a wedding, you might lose that, or you start losing different percentages depending on how close you are to the date of that wedding. So, but those dates are getting pretty close to the date of the wedding. So it's more for security with what we've organised and prepared for that event. So.
Yeah, of course, sure. And so, how far out do people typically book these wedding gigs? So, if there's people listening or watching to this, how much how far ahead should they be planning when they're looking for gigs to book for themselves?
I've got a lot of people planning from 2 to a year and a half out. Some people are just only a year, but the average has been between a year to a year and a half. They've been starting emails and inquiring, and then before we get to a final number and they have confirmation of who's attending and what food they're after, it's normally about a year.
Okay, wow. Okay, so
yeah.
People have obviously heard about Bear's Barbecue a year, 2 years before, and then, wow, that's got to feel good that you've got that such a strong enough reputation that they hear about you 2 years before they want you, and they still go ahead and book you in. That's awesome.
No, it's been really good up here. Like that first year in Mackay, just sort of with my name sort of a little travelled around just from a few people, and those people just putting my name out there just was really good, and appreciate all that. So just word of mouth has been amazing in Mackay.
Yeah, fascinating, man. It sounds like it's really come together for you well up there. Did you you travel up there to Mackay for a job? Like do you have a traditional 9 to 5?
Yeah, so I moved up here 3 years ago now to start a new adult apprenticeship. So I was looking for a new trade.
Right.
So had to live in Mackay to do it. So.
And what was that trade in?
It's electronics and communications in coal mining up here.
Oh wow, smart move.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Awesome. So just okay, that was a bit of a sidetrack. I just went on down there.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to catering. What's been the hardest thing that you've faced setting up this business, and how or what do you do to overcome it?
Oh, the hardest thing. It's probably just more on the day, like of cooking. As you know, like every cook is ends at a different time. The meat never goes for when you're predicting. So one of the hardest thing is when you get a time from the bride, and it's 6 o'clock for dinner, and you can see 6 o'clock is coming and stuff is still cooking. That is one of my hardest things that I've got to deal with the business. Going over there and sort of telling her, because everything's planned for the whole night, and you got to go tell them the night's going to be a little delayed. That is hard. It's only happened a couple of times. I've panicked a few times, but everyone has seemed to have been pretty good with it and understand what's going on, because they know how long the cooking is and how long we've been there for the day. So, but yeah, that's one of my hardest things. Like, I've tried getting there earlier and earlier every time and making sure it's finished early, but sometimes you just can't control what that meat wants to do. So.
Yeah, yeah. And how do the brides respond to something like that? Have you ever had like a bridezilla moment where they just scream and shave their hair off in the mirror? Like, what? How did they handle that news?
No, I haven't had a bridezilla yet. Hopefully I don't ever get a bridezilla, because they look scary. But no, they take it pretty well, and they all seem to understand it and just work with me, because they sort of just want the food. So no, they're all very well. So.
Oh, well, that's handy then. That's a good deal. So tell me, what then has been the best thing or the easiest
The best thing? The easiest. I don't know. Probably the best thing is just getting the recognition, with people wanting me. When you get people that have tried the food at the end of the night, people coming up and telling you that was like one of the best meals I've eaten, and just the feedback. The feedback's amazing, and it sort of, just after that 16-hour day, and you get people coming up and giving you feedback, it's pretty good at the end of the day, especially when you're ready for bed.
Yeah, no doubt about that at all. Now, have you ever had a bridezilla moment where someone's given you negative feedback and you've lost your temper and shaved your head in front of them?
No, I've only no, I haven't actually had anyone come tell me any negative feedback. I would like people to, but there's got to be a time for it. But I would like some negative feedback. It's always good to get it so you can build from that. So.
Yeah, I think we'll call it constructive feedback, shall we?
Yeah, constructive feedback. That's way better.
Yeah. So do you have a particular talent or a particular skill that you think has helped you get this success with this business?
It's probably just my patience and attention. Like, everything I do, I try and do to 110%. I honestly don't like serving, and I won't serve anything that I don't think I would enjoy. So everything that I do serve goes out something that I would want to eat. So I'm never going to serve anything bad. So that's probably my thing there. It's probably my specialty. I always just focus and make sure everything's going out at 110%. So.
Beautiful, man. The attention to detail's got to be so important. So important.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you got planned for the future? Where does Bear's Barbecue go from here?
Well, I'm looking at I want to get to like a food trailer. That is my plan. I want to start I just want to have that bigger and better kitchen where I can expand and start doing more. So I do want to get to the food trailer game, and start doing pop-ups around Mackay and wherever I end up. So that is my goal. So I have been shopping and looking for a little bit now. Just got to find that right one that I want for appearance. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so more of a traditional sort of food trailer, but with a smoker built into it somewhere there.
Yeah, well, at the moment we're having those two smokers on the trailer. It's I've looked at doing trucks with the kitchen on the back, so then I can tow the smokers around. But at the moment, it's just probably going to be a caravan and it's going to be 2 cars. So that's probably what I'm looking at the moment. So.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know JR's Smokehouse? You said you lived down here for a bit. Did you ever get to JR's?
Yes, I did, and that's another inspiration of getting into barbecue there, just tasting his food. So, and he has an amazing setup, so I just love his traditional style. So,
yeah, because that's how he does things too. He's got 2 vehicles and 2 trailers, and one of them's got an old hickory on the trailer, and then the other one's the actual service trailer.
Yeah, no, I've seen his setup a few times, and he's been at the Brisbane Barbecue Festival.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, no, JR Smokehouse is he's one of the big guys in Australia, and he's doing very well.
Very much so, yeah. Now, before we round out this part of the show, we've talked about Bear's Barbecue, where it came from, what you do, how you do it, and your plans for the future. What would
Yeah.
winning the ABA award for Caterer of the Year mean for you?
Wow, I'm honored enough just to be in that top 8 because the guys that are in that they're amazing. Like they are all top notch. So to win that over them, that'd be mind blowing. Like especially for the Bears Barbecue. Like I've got a great group of people that work with me, and just they all put in 100% when we do these weddings. And I think just if we win that, we all deserve it. So and it's a be an award for all of us. So not just myself. So and just everyone who's helped me get here.
Well said, mate. There's no I in team, is there?
No, definitely not. No, it's the people. The people push you, and the people that help you get here. The awards for everyone. So
Very well said, mate. Look, we're going to take a small break and we'll be right back. Alrighty, folks, big shout out to those of you who are joining us in the Smoking Hot Confessions barbecue community over on Facebook today. If you're not there yet, make sure you come over and join us. It is where we record these podcasts before we release them later on down the track. So you get to actually be a part of the show. We've already got a bunch of questions lined up to put to Blair a bit later on. So it's on Facebook, the Smoking Hot Confessions barbecue community. All the guff is left at the door. It's a family-friendly group. We only talk about barbecue, and we just hang out, we have a good time, and we share a lot of knowledge around between us. So if you're out there, if you're looking to find some like-minded people who are into some family-friendly banter at and around a barbecue, do come and join us. It's a good place to be, and we would love to see you there.
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with massive barbecue nerd Ben Arnott.
Alrighty, Blair. Now this is the part of the show where our guest gets to share some wisdom, some knowledge, give us some tips, and you've actually want to talk to us about brisket today. Now I'm super keen about this because I didn't realise before we started the show that you were the brisket guy for Country Boys. So we're actually going to get some great brisket tips, and you're going to specifically focus on brisket for caterers, which is going to be, of course, a bit more different and a bit more widely appealing than, say, competition barbecue. So, mate, I'm going to throw it over to you. I'm going to be quiet now, if you can believe that, and I'm going to just take some notes and ask some questions along the way.
Yeah, cheers. Just my topic today is just going to be brisket. It's my favorite thing to cook. It's more just for what I do at catering, and it'll be good for anyone at home. So just picking the right brisket is like a big thing at the start. You want to get something that's got a nice flat on it and with a good point. You don't want something that's too skinny or too lean. So from there, I go and just pick the right size brisket that I want. And then I'm just going to go over it and make sure the right amount of fat is still left on it. We don't want to take too much fat off the top. We want to get rid of the hard stuff. And we want to try and get some nice shape into it. So I don't remove too much fat, but I will remove a lot of the fat where it's between the muscles of the flat and the point, where you get a bit of hard. So, and then from there, we're just going to go and find the perfect rub that you want. So I'm using all Lane's barbecue products with the gluten-free side of it for my catering. And I'll tend to use the brisket ancho every time. It's a fan favorite. People seem to really enjoy it. I was using salt and pepper for a while. And just a lot of feedback I got from people. Sometimes things are a little bit too salty. So I just went back to using the original from Lane's Barbecue that I was using. And then with that, you want to have the smokers up at about 250, 275 Fahrenheit. When I'm already up to temp, and then we're going to run it, get that brisket in, and we're going to probably shut those doors for a good 3 hours, 2.5 hours before I even open it up again. And then we're going to look at checking the temps on it, checking the color, give it a bit of spritz, make sure there's a bit of moisture there. And with the spritzing, I just use purely water. I don't use anything else, especially anything with sugars in it, because some people tend to use sugar and things will crystallize and burn. but I just keep running the water. We'll cook that brisket till you'll get a stall period. Tends to happen around the 160, 170 Fahrenheit mark. Just let that thing keep cooking and push through. And once you get to the other side of that stall, then we'll wrap that brisket. We're using butcher's paper. And I'll then throw that back in the smoker, and I take them to about 210 Fahrenheit. So they all get about there, and it's more, I feel them as well on the base. Like if they're still feeling a bit tight, I'll keep letting them run in the smoker. But once they feel well, we pull them out and get them into the warmers, the Cambros, and we let them finish off there for another hour to 3 hours. So just depending on what time we finish.
Yeah, right. And as we said, it depends on when the dinner service is as to whether that rest will be 1 hour or 3 hours or 10 minutes if the brisket doesn't want to behave sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's you get a couple, like you'll put them all in at the same time, similar time, and then you might get one out of those 8 briskets I'm cooking for that day might just stay tight for a while, and you just serve up the other ones and you just let it keep cooking, and then it normally tends to come really well at the end of that. So
yeah, very nice. Now, you mentioned right at the start there that you like to pick a nice size brisket. What does that mean? What is a nice size brisket?
So for the catering, like most of the briskets get supplied, they're about 6 to 7 kilo. So sometimes you get some bigger ones, or you get like, so if you get a Cape Grim, most of them are averaging about 5 to 6 kilo nowadays. But they tend to have good shape still. So just with the size, I don't want them being too skinny in width as well. Like I want a bit of good base, and with the flat, we want a good like minimum inch on them. Like everything else is bigger, but I don't ever let them get any smaller than that when I'm picking them out for my catering. So I do like to keep a really nice flat on them. So
would you say that the uniformity of the flat is more important than what the point looks like?
Yeah, I do. Like most of the points, they always cook. They cook well. They always seem to cook really well. So I do focus on trying to make sure I get a good flat when I am picking one of the briskets out. Just being the point being more marbled and having a lot more fat there to go through it and keep it more moisture in there. It's just me, trying to choose a really good flat that has most of the points on them are good anyway. So
yeah. Now, as a barbecue competitor, guys, that we know that that the point is where it's at. Do you find that the commercial guests that you have, do they always go for the point over the flat?
So with them, they don't tend to know too much. You get the few people that will request a burnt end, like, or some of that around that area. So I normally tend to cut that off and throw that in their box for them when they're coming along. But yeah, no, everyone seems to be pretty happy with what they get. But when I do serve up, I try and give them one piece of the flat and a side piece from the point when I do put it in the box. So everyone does get a bit of mix of everything.
Yeah, nice. Now, the other question I had, you mentioned that you're looking for colour after about 3 or 4 hours. What particular colour are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm just trying to start seeing where the bark is starting to set. And then after about 3 hours, I'll rotate that brisket, spin him around, and just trying to get that even cook going through it, like over it. So just with the color, if you tend to have a brisket coming up near towards the exhaust, it's a lot hotter at my exhaust. So I'll normally put the point end at the exhaust end on my briskets when I'm putting them in, because that tends to take a lot more of the heat. And then once it starts getting a bit of color there, sometimes might even put a bit of foil over that because we don't want it going too much. So yeah, I just watch for that, check the temp where it is when it about 3 hours in, and then I start giving that spritz. So I tend to let the briskets try and do their own moisture for as long as I can. And they tend to work very well doing that. So
very nice, yeah. Now the last one that I had for you was that you had mentioned that you wrap after stall. Now I was just curious, are you saying after the stall starts or after the stall finishes?
Yeah. After the stall is finished, I'll wrap my briskets in butcher's paper. Yeah. So I'll keep pushing it through. Yeah.
So after they hit that 203 Fahrenheit.
No, sort of like like just like when they slow down between that 160 to 175, you get that massive stall in between there. Like sometimes you feel like your brisket's not going any higher and it's just hanging out at that the 165, 170 Fahrenheit area, and you feel like it's not pushing. And then once I start seeing the numbers start climbing again, I'll that's when I'll start wrapping. I'll start wrapping that brisket, so it'll be that final cook. So I do tend to push them pretty far before I do wrap, but it's just the way the my smoker is just the way it does it and works well. So
very nice. Very cool. All right, we've got a couple of questions that have come in from the Facebook group for you. The first one is, what's your favourite bit of meat to cook?
Favorite bit of meat? There'll definitely be the beef ribs. Beef ribs are my all-time favorite. So they tend to just cook amazing every time, and they taste even better. So, yeah, beef ribs.
Beautiful. Now, the next one we've got for you is, heard you're going to be opening a shop in Brisbane. Is this a bit of an inside rumour here? Are we going to get a scoop?
No, there's no shop in Brisbane that's opening. No, definitely no shop in Brisbane.
Oh, okay. Busted. Rumour busted. All right, and the last one, this is a great lead for you. Diana Bella says, can I book you for my wedding? So I might pass those details on to you after the show, because I think we've just lined you up another gig.
Yeah, you did.
All right, I'll pass those details on after. Well, look, mate, that's a good point for us to start wrapping up the show. So I'm going to say that the studio's over to you. Throw out some thanks, some praise, some shout-outs to people that have helped you out along the way, and tell everybody where they can track down Bear's Barbecue on the internet.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'd just like to firstly thank everyone that's helped me get to where I am and have had faith in me and supported me. It's one of my big things. So I'd like to thank Brett from Lane's Barbecue. He's always pushed me to keep doing what I do, and he's always supported me. I'd like to thank all the Country Boys team. They've always been there helping me, even when we're just hanging out and just enjoying ourselves. And just all my friends that have always just been there telling me to keep doing what I want to do. So, and just like to thank you for having me on here. Pretty much I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so I'm honoured to be on the podcast with you, Ben. So, I'd just like to thank my partner for also supporting and pushing me to go further with it.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for coming on board the show, and thank you for the kind words about Smoking Hot Confessions. That means a lot. One small piece of advice would be to lead with thanking the partner first. Next time.
I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Well, look, man, thank you very much for coming on the show, and best of luck with everything. And I've got my fingers crossed for you for the ABA Awards at Meatstock Toowoomba. I'll see you there.
Appreciate it, mate. You have a good weekend.
And there you have it, folks. That was Blair Tomkinson from Bear's Barbecue Low and Slow. Formerly of Crafted Q, he works with Lanes. He's been a big part of the scene for many years now, and he's got an award-nominated catering gig based out of Mackay up there. Make sure you check him out. I mean, you can see how down-to-earth he is, and we saw the reflection of that by the request to book him for a wedding coming through during the episode. So that's really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again at Toowoomba and being able to hang out, crack a beer and shake his hand and have a good time. All right, now before I let you go, just a quick reminder, could you please do the things for us, the likes, the shares, the comments. Now, if you're listening in on Spotify, there is a new feature on Spotify for 2022. It is the rating system. So please just take 2 seconds, throw us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you very much for your time today. And until next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.